we're back here on the morning show. Hope you got a hot cup of coffee and a warm scone. Big thanks to one of our key sponsors, Grand Mountain Bank, your hometown bank. Can't do without those guys. Special guest here, Keith Sanders, local bike extraordinaire and owner of the Beavers Sports Shop, right in the Best Western Hotel in downtown Winter Park. What's going on, Keith?
Hey, just enjoying the winter, getting out and doing some great skiing, getting out and doing a little bit of fat biking, and just...
Huge snow early, so we got a great base. We've had some warm sunshine, so it's been kind of fun, almost springy conditions, but luckily we got great snow out there. So
it really is good.
So what else? You said you've been doing a little biking. What does that entail? I got a couple of studs on my mountain bike, so I've been cruising around the town roads, but is that what you're doing, or what are you doing?
Yeah, we're doing some of the new fat bikes. They come with the big wide tires and that type of thing. We've got an amazing trail
starting to see those
system.
more and more. I see a lot of people on these. I mean, these are beastly. These aren't just chubby tires. These are big tires.
Yeah, they're like over twice the width of a normal mountain bike tire. So you can get out in the snow and on the packed trails, and it's a lot of fun.
So you've been riding?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's something to mix up. I mean, there's so much stuff to do up here. It's just one of those other things you got to do.
Now, I heard that you can see it right behind Safeway. They've been grooming from Safeway, I think, all the way to the resort. Does that sound right?
Yep, they've been grooming the Fraser River Trail. And then you've got a ton of trails groomed for snowmobiling, probably about 100 miles of trails.
Is there that many on this end of the county, or
the
whole county in general?
No, that's just on this end. It's unreal. It's one of the key spots in the country that you can go out and just ride until your legs fall off if you want to, or something short and sweet around town.
Well, I know we'll go cross-country ski up above Rendezvous, that development, and the Idlewild trails there, and I've been actually seeing some people on fat bikes, which I haven't really seen that before. So are they bringing them into town? Do we have rental shops in town now? Yeah,
they bring them into town. A lot of people have their own. Of course, we rent them. We've got a fleet of fat tire bikes there, and we have maps and directions and those type of things. And then you can, there's other shops around too. You can go out to Devil's Thumb. They have bikes for rent, and they have their own trail system.
Oh, really? So they groom out there separate from what we're talking about in town here.
Exactly, and then Snow Mountain Ranch has done a huge trail system, specific trails for bikes that are separate from the skier trails.
Okay, so they're actually doing specific to bikes. I was going to bring that up. As you mentioned, there was 100 miles of snowmobile trails?
Yeah, 100
miles.
So
how's the etiquette? How's that work in sharing the trails? Is that going okay?
I think it's going just like it does in the summer. This is one of the few areas when they do any type of Forest Service studies that they've had almost no complaints or user conflicts in this area between different user groups. And I think a lot of it is because people just take ownership of the trails and really respect other users.
I say we have a state that's very used to diverse activity groups, and so just respect kind of comes along with all those activities. So it's nice to hear that that's kind of washed over to winter sports, because the fat biking, it's such a wonderful addition up here, and I wondered how that was working with the different sports that use those trails.
Yeah, and I think you're going to see that because of the fat biking, you're going to see potentially some trails groomed in the wintertime that never get used at all in the winter. There's popular summer trails. They're untouched in the winter. And I think what that'll do is provide users of all diversities something to do and new places to go.
So you mentioned we had 100 miles of snowmobile trail. Are they doing any new additions for the bikers?
That's a great question, because there's a lot of new stuff that's coming, not only for bikers, but for all user groups. And I've been very involved with this. In the last 5 years, we've written some master plans and been trying to work together with the Forest Service, different trail entities, and other user groups. And the Forest Service just unveiled about a week ago a master plan to rework the trail system here, to add new trails, to also rework some of the existing trails so that they're more sustainable, which just means they're going to be less erosion, and then to address a lot of other different user groups. So you can have some more ATV trails, some motorcycle trails, and then bring a lot of trails that are kind of disconnected together, so you have a seamless trail system and just improve the overall quality. It's really exciting stuff.
I know you mentioned erosion. Back in the day, I'm sure there wasn't near the traffic we see now, but people would just kind of create their own trails in the National Forest and in various places, and then they're great trails. However, over the past, I don't know, how many years, you've seen the erosion. They weren't built with the knowledge of, sustainable trails. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, that's exactly on point. Where you get a lot of enthusiasts that are out there and they build trails, and then it creates that double-edged sword. People love them until they get type of eroded. Then you have to come back, and now you've got to deal with it, because it actually can hurt the landscape, it can hurt the watershed, those type of things, and it becomes an issue of fixing something that you should have built correctly the first time and going through the right channels.
And I know over the last couple of years we've seen a lot of huge improvements to some of these trails, and they've included them now on the trail maps and kind of really brought in a lot more options when you get out there.
Yeah, there's been a lot of trails that were unofficial trails that we looked at and determined that they actually fit a need to go from point A to point B or a particular type of user experience. And working with the Forest Service, they brought those type of things in and made those trails official trails and came in and made them so that they're sustainable and they don't erode. And it's been really exciting to see a really good cooperation here.
And so where's the money for this come from?
Money that's to come from, a lot of it is going to be from, the county does little funding. A huge part of what's happened here locally is the town of Winter Park, really dedicating and recognizing that trails are extremely important to the community, to the economic stability of our community here.
It's a huge part of our year-round tourism to draw more people in the summer and the shoulder seasons.
Oh, absolutely. And just to get people here and to see all the products and see why we would like to live here.
So we recently passed this, everyone locally is calling it the bus tax. It's an extra 2% on sales tax in Winter Park and 1% in Fraser. Is part of that, now I understand part of that's transportation and trails.
That's correct, that they have the ability to take that and use it towards trails as part of transportation. So that will go to some trail improvements, things that'll be out in the forest as well as in town, and overall improvements of the trail system, which is really exciting stuff.
And we've already had a wonderful Fraser River Trail. I mean, that's been around forever, which has been a great connector from the resort all the way to Fraser. And so kind of fun to see what they have on the docket going forward here.
Yeah, so I brought a map with me here that kind of shows you some of the stuff that's being proposed at this time. And it's a lot of great stuff, a lot of things that people have asked for years.
We're going to open this up, and then we're going to have to take a quick break here. But this basically is a big map that's going over the next 3 years, I think you said?
Yeah, it's going to be roughly the next 3 years or so. Everything basically you see in color on this map is proposed changes or additions to the trail system. And there's a lot there, because you got to remember, this is the National Forest. This is several thousand acres we're talking about.
It's unbelievable how much property we have to work with. Well, we're going to have to take a quick break. Once again, we're chatting with Keith Sanders, owner of Beaver Sports Shop, right there at the Best Western in downtown Winter Park. And again, a big thanks to one of our key sponsors, Grand Mountain Bank, your hometown bank. Keith, we're going to take a quick break, and I think you got something fun to share with us when we come back. So we'll check out what you got, and we'll be back shortly.